Let's make an SVG using ChatGPT. Hi, and welcome back to my craft room. My name is Kelsey. I also call myself Dinosaur Mama, and today we are going to use ChatGPT to create an image and then Inkscape to make it into a layered SVG file. Now, I initially was going to show you two ways on how to make a colored image in ChatGPT and a black and white image and make them into layered images, but just doing the coloring book method took me long enough to go through because I'm trying to make it as beginner friendly as possible. So we're going to stick with just that one today. And then in the future, if you have interest, I will show you how to take a colored image and make that into a layered image. If you've never worked with Inkscape before, I suggest checking out some of the links below to some of my beginner friendly tutorials. I did try to keep this as beginner friendly as possible though, and I'm always happy to answer any questions that you have down in the comments. I also made an SVG file of a kawaii cat for summer in this video, and I will have that up for free on my blog if you want to download it. All right, let's jump over onto ChatGPT. So I'm going to start with what I think is the easier of the two versions when you're creating your own SVG file, and that's creating a coloring book style image and then breaking it down. So because it is summer, let's come up with a cute summer themed SVG file. So how about we do a kawaii style cat in a pool floaty with a summery drink. Please make this coloring book style black and white. Now, depending on how you want it, how detailed or not, I like to go for mine a little less detailed because it's just cleaner lines in my opinion. So you can always add in cozy coloring book style. Or you can even say something like simple lines. You don't want to have like a ton to break down here. Now you're going to have to do some work and clean it up, but having this like cozy or simple kind of word in it breaks down a little more. Now I do have the paid version of ChatGPT, like the basic paid version, not the real expensive one. And so now I'm going to hit send. I love this image. This would be a really cute SVG file. And we can definitely clean it up to where it's just the cat if you wanted that, or you can keep the whole image. But what we're going to do is I usually just right click and then hit copy image, but you definitely can save it down here if you want to. I'm going to copy the image, and now I'm going to go ahead and open up an Inkscape window. Now that I'm in Inkscape, I'm going to go ahead, right click again and paste. And here is my image, but this is a PNG, so it is not a layered image. I have tried to make layered images in ChatGPT and it has not worked for me. So if someone out there knows a super special trick for that, please let me know, but it just has not worked for me. So from here, with the objects clicked, you're going to go up to path and then trace bitmap. Now you're going to have this over on the side. You want to be in a single scan up top, and the threshold is fine here because it's a nice dark black line. And I'm going to hit apply down at the bottom. If it's too light, you can always up your threshold. And basically what that does is just makes those lines a little bit thicker so it catches more of that black. But most of the time you won't need to. And I'm going to hit apply. So now I have the SVG version, and I know that because if I go over here to node tool, all of these are nodes. Now from here, I can go ahead and I can delete this. And now I can pull this back on. I'm just going to resize it down. And now we can work with this image. Now, like I said, if you don't want all these pieces, what you can do is we can go up to path and we are going to break apart. And now all of those spaces are individual pieces. So if I clicked on this little water ring, it can move. So now if you don't like these, you can simply highlight over them and delete them. So I'm just going to go ahead and focus on that cat and not on any of the waves. Okay, we'll keep the sun and we'll keep the clouds. Now you might be thinking, what about these lines here that kind of showed the diffraction of the ocean? I'm going to double click on those, and now I'm going to highlight over just the nodes. So now what you can do is just delete those, and I'm just using the delete key on my keyboard. So now here is my image, but everything is obviously black. We don't want that. So what I like to do is I like to come down here while I'm clicked on that very back piece. Make sure it's the whole piece here. I'm going to go ahead and make it gray. You can make it a little bit lighter. And now up top, I'm going to hit this one right here, lower to bottom. So now I can see the pieces on top. So now it's kind of like a coloring book. I'm going to go through and I'm going to click. I'm holding shift and clicking. And I'm going to click on those and now I can change the color. I use this down here for my colors and I just scroll up and down to get to the different colors. So now again, I can change this, change it to a different color. And let's say I want my cat to be white. I'll grab what I think is of the cat. I don't think there's anything else here. I think this is supposed to be the same color. And you might need to play around a little bit. And this should be this color. Actually, I think this should be this color. Yep, this should be this color. Now I just noticed that this right here is actually supposed to be the ocean still with the cat. So what I would do is I would actually take these two. I held shift and this black piece, and you can go path and you can go to difference. So now I like to use shortcuts, but I'm not going to use them here. So you can use the eraser. The eraser is kind of not the best sometimes. You can use the eraser. And then when you go into nodes, you're able to delete those. Okay. So now we have that space. But you'll see the cat has no face now. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to send this all the way to the back first, but I'm still highlighted on it. And now I'm going to bring it up just one. So from here, we can start building the rest of our cat. So this is white. I'm going to make sure that everything is white. And now for the face and the eyes, I'm grabbing all of these. And these are black, right? So if I move these, they're going to be black. And eventually I'm going to change my background to black. So I don't need to have this as a layered file. I can go up to path and I'm going to go to union. You have to do that first or pieces will go missing. And then I'm going to take it. I'm going to hold shift and hold on to the white part. I'm going to go to path and I'm going to go to difference again. So now once I change this background to black, when you go to build up your cat, you would just put your white piece of paper over it or vinyl onto your backing. So for the ears, I do want these to be pink, but I'm going to check. They do have an outline. So what that means is that it's black around the ear and then the pink is on the inside. So again, we're going to go up here to to path. We're going to go to union and then we are going to difference this. And now I have that black outline. And now for these two ears, I just unioned them with my shortcut. I use shift command plus. It should just be command plus. I don't know why I added the shift. And I'm going to make that pink. Now for the arm, we just need to difference this into the back, just like with the eyes and the nose. And this might take a little bit of time to get used to, but I promise once you start playing with it, you pick it up a little bit more. Now, if there are edges that you don't like, you can always go into node mode by double clicking or go off to the side, and it's the second one down on my Mac. And you can just clean these up by deleting some extra nodes if they're not there. Same with like this little piece of fruit. And now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make my drink. So I'm grabbing all of these pieces. I'm going to make this unioned. And then for the glass, I'm going to do like a really light blue. Okay. Interesting that the way that they did this. I don't love the way that this looks because it feels like there should be another line here. So what we can do is we can zoom in. And like I said, you're going to have to clean some of this up. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to do this to make sure that these are all together. And if you ever run into a situation like that, you can always grab like a rectangle and union it in to, I see what the problem is. Okay. So now I don't love that this is not connected. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cross this over and then I'm just going to delete these so that the drink kind of looks like separated. So like this is the drink, this is the drink. So we're just going to move this back. You're going to have to play with some nodes and move things around. And again, you're just going to have to practice and take time. I can't really, tell if your SVG is going to be different, what you'll need to break up and do, but I'm doing my best to show you. So now these two pieces I like together as the glass. But why did that? Oh, I don't know why this came with it. I'm going to change this to like a fruity, or let's do orange, like an orange color. And again, there was like a piece of fruit in it. I like that. And this can be orange as well. And if you want this closed off, you can, of course, I stopped talking here and just started working. And so you can, of course, change this around and link it. You can also bring a shape in and weld it. I ended up going with just closing it off together. And then what I did was I broke it apart again and deleted some nodes. And then I just added back in a node by double tapping and stretching it up. So I just sort of stopped talking while I was working. I don't know why I did that, but that is how I made the triangle. So from there, I took the orange because everything was connected and I broke it apart again. I used the shortcut, but it was path and then break apart. And then I worked just like I did with the cat and its face. And then these three could be all the brighter orange. And then I started working my way around the cup to change any colors that I needed to. But you can, obviously you're going to have a different image actually. So you'll have to play with colors. You'll have to play with what works together. So my suggestion is to start simple. You can always go through and delete things that you don't want. And now I'm just going through and I'm adding in my colors. I like that there's a fruit in here and a fruit on the outside of this drink. So I'm highlighting over all of these pieces of orange and I'm going to make it the same color as in here. And then this orange can be a little bit darker like that. And this guy has two straws. Oh no, that's an umbrella and this is a straw. And we'll make that white. Okay. And so now my cat is pretty much done and you can always go over and check by seeing if there's any little pieces. So like for example, in our drink, you see there's two more dots. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to send this back. And those are little bubbles. You can delete those or you can keep them. And if you're going to keep them, make sure you union and then you delete. Or sorry, that you difference into the back. Now I'm going to zoom out. And I'm going to change this to black. And our cat is done. So now we can start working on the rest of our pieces. Now these should be a lot easier. I'm going to union these three clouds. I used my control and then my plus sign. I'm sending everything back. These can all be white. Again, I unioned them and changed them to white. And now for the sun, you're going to go around, click all of these. And I'm going to union those as well. Send it to the back. Change this to yellow. Now the only thing I have to do is change the back of my clouds to black. And now my SVG is done. So what I would do is I would save this. And this SVG will be up for free on my website. You can find the link below. Okay, now we can go ahead and check our image. I always check my images in Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to go, here's my summer kawaii cat, and hit continue and upload. And now I'm going to go over here and these are going to be all your pieces. So what I'm really looking for is like any little black dots like this. So see, there's some in the sun. Did the sun have a face? I don't think so. Did it? I think it did. So what you would do is you go back in here. I think it did. I'm going to union those, send them up. It did. And now I can save it. So now if you want to, you can go back in. I hit save on this. Go back over to Cricut. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to upload the same image with the new sun. And now I can go through and check again. Again, I'm just really looking for any little black dots like here. Like let's say those are the clouds. So you can always check and hide it. This is the background. And now everything is layered. And you can change colors and do anything that you want to do. Now, for example, if you want to ungroup, you can always like weld these colors together that way or attach. That way when you go to send it, they're all together. But you've made a layered SVG file from a ChatGPT prompt. I just realized when I went and looked back at the ChatGPT cat that he had two little pink cheeks here. So if you wanted to add anything, you can always go to your shapes and add them on yourself. So you just do that. I'm just going to duplicate. I'm going to add that one over here. Again, I'm going to go path and union these. And then you can always just change your color. Now, if you want the black rings around them, right, like the ears, you can always duplicate this. And then what I like to do is I like to go path and do an outset. And then you can always grab that, grab your white, and again, go path and then difference. Now, if you wanted it thicker, of course, you would go path, outset, and I like to use my shortcuts and then again. So that was a little bit thicker. I almost feel like it needs one more. Let's see. There we go. So now you'd have your cute little cheeks on your cat too. Thank you for watching this, and I hope you gained some information from it. I really enjoy making these SVG tutorials, and if you want to see that one with the layered colored image, please let me know. Don't forget to give this a thumbs up, it helps me so much. Subscribe to my channel for new crafty videos, and share this with one of your friends who wants to learn how to make their own layered SVG files using ChatGPT. I will see you soon in my craft room, and stay crafty.